I sincerely thank all of you who are joining for the meditation as well as for the chanting of Dhyana Shloka. We know Dhyana Shloka is for like a birthday song for Bhagavad Gita. We praise the author, Veda Vyasa. We praise Gita itself. And do you know on 22nd, that is, I think tomorrow, Gita Jayanti is been celebrated all over country. So we are so fortunate that we are studying Bhagavad Gita. Every year, Gita Jayanti falls on this day. And we know that the importance of Gita is in so many ways. I would like to propose that every time someone of you who are doing these classes from almost 2 to 3 years, can you come forward and say how the Bhagavad
Hari Om,
Gita
sir.
teaching? Yes,
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, Anvit. So I would like you to start this as how this Gita classes are helping you in your daily studies or play or friendship or whatever you're doing. So I would like someone of you or each one of you by turn to take uh, 2 minutes or 3 minutes before we start the class and tell us how Gita studies help me. Okay? Someone voluntarily. I don't want to force anyone. Sharo has raised hand. Anything, Sharo? Next time you would like to take that?
Sir?
You raised hand?
Yes, sir. I wanted to say that Gita, it helped me in pronunciation. Because
Okay.
before, when I was learning any shloka, I knew Vishnu Sahasranama before, but pronunciation I didn't know. Then Rama ma'am taught me. Then I learned much more about this also. It helped me in bhakti because I only knew Vishnu and the Trimurti.
Okay.
So it helped me in that.
So the same way we can have a 2 minutes talk on how it helped me. So let us start from the next class. Okay. Sharo, you just say in 2 minutes whatever you wanted to say so that everyone knows. Those who are new to the class, they will also know how it helped them. Okay. We start from the next class. Okay. So please chant after me. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We are in which Shatakam, children? Anyone can tell me? Go ahead. We are in
Third Shatakam.
Charama Shatakam.
correct third or Charama Shatakam. When Shatakam we say this Shatakam talks about values, about good values, also about bad values. So by gaining good values, we gain the knowledge. And what are the Shatakams, children? We know when you say 3 Shatakams on third Shatakam means there are 1 and 2. And every Shatakam means group of 6 chapters. So when total 3 Shatakams are there, very easy. Total 3 and 6 Shatakams is equal to 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. We have seen this. And what knowledge are we talking about? What knowledge are we seeking, all of us? When we go to school, when we study maths, we are studying all the multiplication, division, addition. When we go for physics, we study all the laws, action, motion, kinetic energy, all that. Now, what are we talking about knowledge in this? Can anyone tell me?
Self-knowledge.
That is Aditi. Very good.
Spiritual knowledge.
Which knowledge?
Spiritual knowledge.
Okay, spiritual knowledge, correct. So,
Sir, virtue knowledge, the knowledge of our virtues.
okay. So maybe Aditi is quite close. It is about self-knowledge. Now that self is very difficult, but this is knowledge to get moksha. Okay. Like if you learn mathematics, you will get knowledge of equations, sums, left hand is equal to right hand side, that all that you get. But this is about moksha, and moksha means freedom, or moksha means liberation. What is this freedom from? The freedom from is samsara. We all know samsara. That is the multiple cycles of life and death, birth and death. And samsara, we all know, is composed of raga, shoka, and moha. Can anyone tell me what is raga? I am sure you know about it. Raga,
Sir, rage, anger.
Attachment.
attachment, correct. Not only attachment, strong attachment. That is very important. The adjective strong is important. We must have attachment to something which we have, right? But strong attachment. When strong attachment is there, when that thing is away from you for a longer period of time, what happens? Shoka. What does shoka means, children?
Desire.
Intense grief. Correct? Intense grief. We can grieve for some time, but if it is too difficult to console, then it is intense. So whenever there is a strong attachment to something, intense grief will be there. And finally, when you have all this confusion, then there is moha, delusion. We cannot understand the right or wrong, which happened to Arjuna when he was asked to fight a dharmic war against whom? His relatives, his kith
His
and
family
kin.
member.
Yes, and that's where he had strong attachment. Then he was already seeing their death. Then he had intense grief, and this made him sway away from his Kshatriya dharma. Okay, so that is what we want to get free from, all this samsara. What will happen after being free? Are you going to, I'm not talking after death, after being free from, after we get this knowledge, we are liberated, right? What will happen after getting free? We are one with the ultimate reality. And that's where Aditi was saying self, the higher self. That is Atma. We are
Sir,
one with
Brahman. Sir,
yes,
Brahman.
yes. So those who have joined the first time, like Ananya or someone, for them, there is someone who is sitting within you, because God, when made human beings, and when he left them to explore the world, you know what happened, children? Every time something new has come, the human being will go and ask God, what is this? God will say, this is for your food. This is for your shelter. God finally got so much annoyed because every time something he's creating for the human is coming and asking what to do. He never tries to explore himself. Ultimately, God found a way. You know what he did? He got hidden, he hid within the human being himself as Atma, the ultimate reality. Because he knew once he's hiding within him, he will never try to search within him. He will search everywhere in the universe. He will always forget to search within him. We are all that human being who never sees the ultimate reality, truth within us. We try to search everywhere. God is in this, God is in this idol, stone, mountain, everywhere, but not within us. So, what will happen after being free is that we will be one with the reality, the ultimate truth. As all the waves, they come to the shore and finally they go back to the ocean itself. So, we are what we should be. We are that truth, the original consciousness. Only after we face the world, the environment, we become something different that the consciousness is. Okay, the wave slowly thinks she or he is separate from the ocean, but finally, when it reaches the shore, it has to come back to the ocean itself. Are you understanding this, children? Any doubts till now? Please tell me. Please ask me any questions if you have. Because this is the only understanding about Bhagavad Gita. This is the only thing repeatedly asked in questions by Arjuna and answered by Krishna. All the verses, but the 16th and 17th is really different. So we are the Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means truth, Chit means the existence, and Ananda means the happiness. Ultimate, infinite Ananda, happiness. And that is nothing but the Brahman. Do you remember the 15th chapter, children? Anyone can tell me? We have done 15th chapter. It is called
Purushottama Yoga.
Fantastic.
Purushottama Yoga.
And did we know about Brahman there? Was Brahman talked about there? Many of you have talked separately. Every class I gave a homework, and you spoke so splendidly, so beautifully. You have spoken about it. Can anyone remember about it now?
It mostly told about how to attain moksha and how to cut down samsara like that.
Exactly. So you're right. It mostly told about moksha, but it also told in the first 8 or 9 verses, it was told about Brahman. First 2 verses, it tells about samsara, and to cut this samsara's tree, urdhva mula madashakham. Do you remember? Urdhva mula means upside down tree. A tree has upside down, and the shakha, the branches, the leaves, the papa, punya, all that was explained. But where is Brahman? Brahman is the ultimate thing which cannot be having any form, shape, size, color. It is beyond this. The word was attributeless. Correct? Attributeless means no form, no shape. That's why it is so difficult to search Brahman, right? Can you search and find Brahman? No. When the tree is there, if we can tell, for an example, whatever we see is samsara, and the substratum, what we don't see below the soil is Brahman. That is the roots. Now someone intelligent will tell, we can just dig it and see the roots, right? Like tap root, deciduous root. Correct? You have learned in biology or science. Same way, we have to dig deeper within us to find that root Rupi Brahman. Okay? But even that simile is not very accurate, because Brahman has no limit. He is limitless, he is boundaryless, he is colorless, but he is there. Very like a space. All these examples were given in 15th chapter. Anyway, so we are that Satchit Ananda, that Brahman. That is the understanding, and that is the freedom we have. Now, to have all this, how to achieve it also important, right? How do we achieve it, children? If you want to achieve good marks, you have to study well. If you want to become a scientist, then you have to start studying the basic sciences very well. If you want to be a pilot, you definitely have to start preparing for that engineering or that field very well, right? So how to achieve this? The moksha is by satsang. Satsang is nothing but what we are doing now, what we are doing every week. Continuous systematic studies of scriptures under the able guidance of a guru. Guru here is like Sri Krishna to Arjuna, like Hegde sir to all of us, and like Swami Paramarthananda ji for the entire society, the community, and the entire country. So that is how satsang helps in understanding this, achieving this freedom or moksha. Okay. With that, I will just start the 17th chapter because some people missed it. Arjuna was asking question. Those people who do all the worship, get up, clean themselves, do the puja, archana, everything, but they don't know the right way. They only do with Shraddha, not with Shastra. They are scripturally illiterate, but they have faith in God. What happens to them? So God answers. This type of Shraddha depends upon the personality of the individual. According to the personality, it will be divided into Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. And don't you remember, children? We have already done Satvik, Rajasic and Tamasic in 16th chapter. Okay, that is Daivi, Rakshasi and Asuri Sampat. Or 14th chapter also we have completed. Do you remember? In that also we have seen Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. We are a mixture of all the three. Now, how to know we are a mixture? When you see in the early morning, if the alarm is ringing, 90% of you, what you do? Tell me really. When the alarm is ringing at 5:30, you have put it. Please, Anvit, tell me what do you do? Anvit will
Sir,
answer.
you
What you will tell?
I'll say I'll sleep for 2 minutes.
Correct.
Then
Exactly.
I'll wake up.
But 30 minutes you'll sleep, right?
2 minutes will go 15 minutes.
Exactly. And can I ask someone else? Purvik, if you have an alarm, especially on a rainy day, some day which is dull, what do you say? 5:30 alarm, once it's ringing, what you do, Purvik?
I'll just wake up and I'll do brush. Mainly,
Yeah.
I'll do the things. After
But
that, breakfast.
are you lazy? Are you lazy when you get up? You are little lazy, right?
Yeah, I am little lazy.
Correct. So that is tamasic. You are lazy. Or someone who is not even looking at the alarm snooze button hitting means it is completely laziness. That is tamasic. So we are tamasic. But as the day progresses, as the sun rises, the energy in the atmosphere is there. And when you start working, taking bath, you become rajasic because to take a bath, to take your breakfast, that also in hurry burry to go to school, mummy is shouting, it is rajasic. You have to do activities. And when you go to school, you are completely rajasic. You are playing, chatting, studying, whatever. And then finally, when you come back, from the school with the knowledge, you do homework. You sit on a desk and try to read and understand. That is sattvic. And finally, you go back to sleep, again tamasic. So we are all mixture of rajasic, sattvic, and tamasic all together. But here it is talking about Trivida Bhavati Shraddha, the faith according to the Dehinam, the people, Sa Swabhavaja, the individual personality, will count on what type of faith it is, Satvik, Rajasic, or Tamasic. And this is what you are going to see in the entire chapter. And oh, this is also important. Anvit, Krishna says, whenever the classes is going on, Swayam Krishna only speaking through me or someone who is giving you a lecture on Bhagavad Gita. So, Tam Shrunu, just like a TV has an antenna, nowadays no antenna, a receiver set-top box. That receiver, your ears should listen carefully. If you are not listening and putting your fingers in the ears or doing something else, I don't have to tell you who is this person or this individual. This being is a orangutan, a monkey. Whatever you do, he will just play. So, Tam Shrunu is not told by me. It is told by Krishna to Arjuna. Please listen carefully. So, that's the words from Krishna to Arjuna. It is also for all of us. If only we listen carefully for this 1 hour of a week, it is going to come to you. Okay. Now, in the third verse, Sattvanurupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharataha. And Shraddha Mayom Purushaha Yo Yachada Sa Evasaha. So, this is very important verse where he says not only the personality but also how the person grows himself in the environment and how he faces the world. If you sow a seed and do not nurture it, what will happen, Anvit? What will happen, Sharav? If you just sow a seed and leave it like that, what will happen?
Sir, it will just die or it will get smelly
Yes.
and it
will-
won't grow.
Exactly. If you want something, some idea to grow, the spirituality, the idea of moksha, freedom to grow within you, we have to give time. We have to do some effort. Just as a farmer does lot of tilling, he jumps into the soil and do a lot of hard work, and he protects his crops till it grows. Then only it gives him reaping benefit of the whatever he has sown before. I am Purusha Shraddhamaya. Just when we see Olympic gold medals, this year I think Olympics are going to be started again. Olympics, we are all seeing the 3 people on the podium, gold, silver, and bronze. But do you know how much work they have done behind? What we see is the tip of the iceberg. But if you read between below them, lot of determination, greed, passion, focus, failures, a lot of courage. So many things have gone beyond. What we don't want to see is this. Everyone thinks someone coming first in the class or someone is coming first in the sport tournament. He has just come and played and gone. No, children. Lot of shraddha, lot of practice. I am Purushaha Shraddhamaya. This is what our Krishna is saying. So someone who practices correctly for a longer period of time, even the failures will not stop him. He will be successful someday. And the verse fourth, यजन्ते सात्विकाम देवान यक्ष रक्षांसि राजसा प्रतान भूत गणांशान्य यजन्ते tamasa jana. So again, sattvic people, the different modes of worship. I don't want to explain too many things here because we are going to see this worship from, I think, today Raghav is going to speak about this type of worship. But a gist is the people who are worshipping gods, they are sattvic. People who worship Yaksha and Rakshasa, Dakini, Shakini, all that things is Rajasic. And finally, Tamasic people do lot of harm to themselves, bodily harm or others, and they worship ghost, preta, spirits, and that is worship we should avoid. So let us now move to today's verse. Utsav, are you ready? Can I?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Are you ready for your verse? Can I chant or you want to chant?
Sir, can I chant?
Please chant. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Today I am going to chant verse number 17.5. Asastra viditam ghoram tappante ya tapojana dambahakara samyakta kama raga balam vitaha.
Very good, Utsav. Can we all
I
chant?
tell
Can
you?
we all chant together?
Okay, sir.
Narayani, can you chant and then we will chant after you, if you're okay? Or Narayani is there?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay for you to chant and then we will chant after you?
Okay, sir. Ashastram ashastra vihitam ghoram
Ashastra viditam ghoram
tapyante tapojanaha
Tapyante
yante
jana.
janaha
dambahankara samyuktaha
dambhankara samyuktaha
कामरागबलान्विताः
कामरागबलान्विताः.
Thank you very much. Now go ahead, Utsav.
The meaning of this verse is, in the chapter, the verse number 2 to 4, Krishna is saying about those people who are lazy and neglect Vedic scriptures and do things what they want to do. But now, in verse 5 and 6, Krishna is saying about those people who wantingly, knowingly, and willingly reject scriptures and do something against the Vedic scriptures. The austerities by such people is described in sloka number 5 and 6, and such people also used to show their pride and false ego. And I want to also present the meaning of this verse by a story. The story of Duryodhana. Duryodhana was the son of King Dhritarashtra. He was the prince of Kuru Vangsha. He was a rude person. He used to be angry of all time. He used to think that he is so powerful, and also he used to think he has lot of money and wealth. From his childhood, he used to have a grief of his father kingdoms. He always used to misbehave with the Pandava. He greatly wanted to kill them. And also, when Yudhishthir used to speak about dharma and truth, he used to refuse to hear. He used to say that he is the great of all. And one day, when Krishna was in their court, he and his brother wanted to lock up Krishna by iron chain, but they failed. When the Mahabharata war was declared, we all know that Krishna was saying that I want to give a chance to both Pandava and Kaurav to choose my great army or me. But there is a challenge that I will never use any weapon in the battleship. The Duryodhana chose the Duryodhana chose the army because he knows that Krishna will not use any weapon. So from this story, we all know that Duryodhana is a adharmic people, and the moral of the story is Dharma also win. Thank you, sir.
Excellent, excellent, Utsav. You chanted very well, and with the story, you conveyed the message of people who practices wrong worship. They are not sattvic, definitely. They are rajasic or even tamasic. Damba ahankara samyuktaha means both together, pretension and egoism. Just to show someone that I am doing worship, they do. And just to prove that themselves, their ego, satisfying their ego, they do. They don't know the real scriptural understanding. They don't know the scriptural, what scripture has said to do. So, ashastra vihitam, without knowing the scriptures, they do, without, which is not prescribed. Like some people who take medicine without prescription. Then what will happen? Sometimes out of 10 out of 2 times it will help you, but 8 times there is chance it will harm you. So that's what the understanding of this was. Thank you, Utsav. Now, I think Darshil is not there, but I will tell this story. Anyone wants to tell the story of Ravana's worship towards Shiva and what happened after that? Sharo, your hands is raised. You want to?
Okay, sir. If anybody else wants to.
No, you
Alright,
can
sir.
go ahead. I think no one has raised hand, only you have raised. You can go ahead.
Okay,
I'll help
sir.
you if something goes if you don't understand. or
So at first, Ravana was doing Satvik Yajna. He used to worship Shiva with pure mind, bhakti, and then after a long time of penance, he never used to give away his attention. So Shiva gave him lot of boons. By this, he got ahankara. So then he started doing rajasic things, expecting things from Shiva.
Hmm.
Then once he had gone to Kailasa to ask Shiva for another boon. Yeah, he was, but Shiva and Parvati were sitting. I'm pretty sure Shiva was doing meditation. He disturbed them as much as he could with all his might. Then Parvati said, do something about it. He even started lifting Mount Kailash itself. Then Shiva put one toe to the ground, he fell inside the mountain. Then he started taking out his hamstring and making a veena and playing it for him, which again was tamasic. Then Shiva let him out. After that, he started giving his body parts, cutting animals, giving it to him tamasically, without any bhakti. So that is his worship.
Exactly. So what this type of worship is, it is, you can see all the worships he has done. First, Satvik, when he was a real Brahmin, Ravana was a Brahmin, you know that. And then slowly he became Ahankara, pride, ego. To satisfy it, he did tamasic worship. And finally, he was shown his way by Lord Shiva himself. Just a small toe could bring the entire mountain on him. And then he has made that beautiful song, you know, Shiva Tandava Stotram, to just come out of that in the praise of Lord Shiva. Now we move to Swastik. Swastik, your verse. You would chant.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'll chant it. Karshayanta sharirastham
Karshayantap Shari. All of you chant, please.
Karshayanta
Sharirastam.
Amanastam.
bhutagramam achetasah Mam chaivanta sharirastham tan vidhyasura nishchayan. Yes, sir. Now, what this verse tries to explain to us is what is the tamasic form of worship towards a specific deity or so. Now, if you ask a person who does not believe in any scripture, never seen the book, never seen the cover of any scripture in the world, and a man who has learned the Vedas completely about what is the right way to worship, what can you expect from them? Now, you might as well just expect from the man who has learned the Vedas to say that you should worship him, meditate on him, revel in him, and think of only him, nothing else in that entire moment. Now, but that man will most likely say, no, that is not the right way. Yeah, you should at least sacrifice something. Yeah, the sacrifice is required. Now, these type of people is what this verse tries to explain. These type of people who have never even seen the cover of any book which shows them the right way to bring God down to them to just see how well he has prayed to them. Instead, he decides to lay. Now, have you ever seen a person lay on a bed of thorns or keep his hand up throughout the entire day, or just leave his food, not eat anything for the whole day, sacrifice all of this food to God? This is not correct. And the most probable answer that you might say is no. This is because you hurt yourself. As we have learned from Sachin sir, we know that inside us also there is Brahman. There is the soul of every god within us itself. There is a part of their soul. Now, what happens if you attack yourself just in order to get their attention? Most likely they will never respond to you. Because this is the wrong way to worship. You are worshipping in a method which will not allow you to even do anything. It's as if you are trying to measure the speed of the wind when the wind is just fluctuating at every moment. You cannot do anything. Now, here also, we are also shown what type of sampat this is. By reading the words Tan Vidyasura Nishchayan, which tells us know them to be demon determined, which tells us that they are of Asuri Sampat. As we have learned, Tamasic people are also called Asuri people. Now this is where I'd like to conclude. Thank you, Sachin sir, for giving this opportunity to me. Thank you everyone for listening to my explanation of this verse. Thank you.
Excellent. Very well chanted as well as explained in your own words. Fantastic. So those people who in the form trying to worship in a wrong way without even reading the scriptures, as rightly pointed, they are Asuric Sampat, means they are demonics and the demons. They hurt themselves. And we all know God is within us as it is in all of you. Everything, when you're harming something, even self-harm, children self-harm physically, mentally, emotionally is not good. So when we harm ourselves by whatever reason, whatever situation, I think it is tamasic. So ways we worship, you might see this in the future if you have not seen now. But there are many ways people walk on the coal, burning hot coal, or they pierce their body parts in the name of worship. Sharav, you want to say something?
Sir, I wanted to ask something. 1 second, sir. Yes, sir. So, I was told by my mother, not my grandfather, my grandfather's father, and my great grandfather's brother, they used to do one ritual. There was one temple which only opened once a year. So for the time, I think 7 days or something,
Hmm.
they used to like do regular fasting
Hmm.
for all those days. They stayed in the temple. Then they ran on coal. Were carrying the god's idol.
Hmm.
After a few days, they don't feel pain. It's like running on regular this thing. That's tamasic, no? Or is it sattvic? Which one?
Definitely tamasic. They are harming themselves.
Why
Okay.
would you harm yourself in order to get the attention of God?
Hmm.
Because first of all,
Okay.
you have a part of their soul inside of you. But
Yeah.
now what is the meaning of hurting them in order to get their attention? They will just ignore you more.
No, Satvik, he just wants to know because his family, someone was doing it. So we'll
Yes,
let
sir.
him know that what, according to scriptures, when they may not have read Bhagavad Gita, maybe they have read, but not this chapter very well. Correct, Sharav? We are done this chapter fourth time. At least what I know, this class is fourth time.
Yeah.
Still, we forget so many things, right? So sometimes people misunderstand what is tamasic, what is rajasic. But one thing is clear now. Sattvic, like Rama, is doing some worship for the betterment of the entire beings, not only human, animal, non-living, everything. He's not asking any boon for himself. Okay? So when you do that, you are spiritually growing very well. Your plant, spiritual plant, which you have put in the soil, the small seed, it will grow slowly, but it will grow correctly. Now the people like Ravana, who is worshipping for his gain, materialistic gain, he wanted entire mountain to be taken to Lanka. Materialistic gain. That type of is Rajasic. And those people who harm in the name of worship is Tamasic. Are we clear, children, all about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we move ahead. Pragnya, your verse.
Yes, sir. Sir, okay. Can you go to my
Yes,
slides?
yes, yes, your slide.
Namaste everyone. I'll be explaining the 7th verse of the 17th chapter. I hope you all like it. Okay, so I will chant and please chant after me. Aharastvapi sarvasya
Aharasvapi
Aharasvapi
sarvasya sarvasya
trividho bhavati priyaha
Trivido
Devo bhavati
Bhavati
priyaha
priyaha
yajnastapastatha danam
yajnastapastata dhyanam
tapastapasthatha dhyanam
tesham bhedam imam shrunu.
tesham
tesham
vedam
vedam imam shrunu.
Thank you, everyone. The literal meaning of the verse states that the food that people prefer is according to their dispositions. The same is true for the sacrifice, austerity, and charity they are inclined or predisposed toward. Now, here are the distinctions from me. So, next slide. This verse basically begins with the fact that the body and mind, both of them have a very great impact on each other. So the food we eat is said to play a very important role in influencing our personality or making up who we are, or and it's a very important aspect. So the Upanishad, or this verse in the Bhagavad Gita explains that the coarsest part of our food, which comes out as waste materials or feces, then the slightly subtler part, the minute part that forms our flesh, and the even more minute part, the even more subtlest part forms the mind. So hence, the purer the food we eat, the purer our mind becomes. Or you can also take it as the purer the person is, the more better food the person will choose. So previously. So, to explain this more simply, to all the new participants of the class, there are, I think, as a chapter further goes, you will learn about the tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic, and it's already been explained. So let me briefly talk to you about the sattvic, the types of food regarding these three qualities. So all of these will impact the body differently. Firstly, sattvic food is see, you can see the first image in the picture I've put. It's the so sattvic food is almost always vegetarian food. It is and anything that is cooked with the correct amount of salt and spice, which is very pleasant, and that will result as a happy mind where we will not be disturbed and stay calm. Then we have the Rajasic food, which you can see, which has more of, it has all the garlic, onion, the spices, chilies, and all. So that has that is slightly more flavorful food, like which has more taste to it, but it is like a little bit bad for our body. So this will cause an over enthusiastic mind which is constantly running and thinking. And then lastly, the last one, tamasic, which is mostly always non-veg food or things with over spice, over salt, and over sweet. So this will cause a very negative and disturbed mind. That is why the food that we eat depicts our mind state also. So next slide. So there are in the continuation of the verse, Krishna states that there are three factors that help in shaping our spiritual path. So our spiritual path, devotion to God, and our overall development of our personality. So the three factors are sacrifice or tyaga, penance or tapa or prayaschitta, and charity, which is also known as dhanam. So next slide. So let's talk about each one briefly, starting with sacrifice or yajna. It basically refers to the action or the reverse of the action with a person or an object while doing our duty. So I thought since Sachin sir is a surgeon, we could take the doctor example. So Sachin sir, if he has chosen the plastic surgery as his profession, then his duty is to earn a livelihood and benefit from that occupation that he has chosen. So that will become his yajna. And as students, our yajna is to concentrate in class, get the knowledge into our brain, and then reflect on that knowledge. And yes, of course, do well in our exams. Then secondly, we'll move on to tapas, prayaschitta, or the penance. So through this, we conserve the energy needed to perform the respective duties. So Sachin sir, I would like to assume that before you have to perform a surgery, you have to definitely mentally prepare yourself. This is so physical energy will automatically be influenced by the food that you eat. So for example, if you have eaten sattvic food before your surgery or any whatever occupation is, then you will have a calm state of mind. Your the way you perform your work will be with perfection, and then your internal energy is by the sadhana or the meditation or the state of mind that you have maintained throughout the day or maintained before the surgery. That will be the state of mind which will be reflected when you are doing your job. So then lastly, we move on to charity or dhanam. This refers to the donation or the excess wealth accumulated from doing duties. So if we truly like our occupation, then we will definitely prosper in it. And when we prosper in it, we'll have more assets than we wish for ourselves. Like quickly taking the example of Bali, he was such a great king, and even though he was a Rakshasa king, he was a great king and he had so many assets, and yet he was not greedy. He kept donating as much as he could to his citizens, to public, to the poor. So basically, when we donate this in today's world, this decreases our greed or what we call as lobha. And channelizing or directing our wealth in the right direction will not only better our lives, but also the society or our surroundings. So next slide. So I'll just briefly tell this. So whenever if you eat outside, for example, and you order, for example, like gobi manchuri or anything with a lot of spice, then at the moment the spice on your tongue will feel nice, flavorful, and chatpata, you can say. But then when you come back home or after a few hours, you'll start feeling overly thirsty, and then you might experience heartburns, your stomach, you have acidity, you have so many problems. It is negatively impacting your peace of mind. So this is basically what Sri Krishna tried to convey to us in this verse, that what we eat is what we are made of, or what composes us. Let us all constantly pray to Sri Krishna to awaken our sanskaras and show the path to moksha. I hope you got to understand this presentation, and thank you to Sachin sir for giving this opportunity. Dhanyavadam and Hari Om.
Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad. Excellent. This is actually summing up the entire 17th
Dhanyavad.
chapter. You summed up the entire 17th chapter by this verse. Fantastic. Very well done. Good chanting and good explanation as always,
Thank you.
Pragnya. Thank you very much. And children, because of the short of time, Raghav's verse will take next. Before you leave, I have a request. Nowadays, we practice no forcing the chapters, no verses. If you come up, if you are volunteering, then I allot you to the next class. And I want to take the names this class itself. So any one of you want to take a verse or story, please let me know by now before you leave the class, so that I can give you something the next class.
Sir, I have a
Rishikesh.
doubt.
Yeah. First, can we can before they leave, can we have this? Who is wanting to give a story or verse? Someone has raised hand. Aditi, you would like to take some verse?
Sure, uncle.
Utsav, आपने भी हाथ ऊपर किया है.
So story.
Story. Okay. Pragnya has also raised the hand. So
Yes.
let me just take a screenshot. Narayani, Pragnya, let me take a
Sir,
screenshot.
story, sir, story.
Hey, Sumira.
Sorry, yeah. For what?
Sir, story.
Story. Okay. Let me take a screenshot. Anvit also has asked to take. Okay, I have done that. Okay, so we have enough people for the next class. Only Utsav and Anvit want story. Otherwise, Swastik, Narayani, Aditi, Pragnya.
Sir, I'll also take a story.
And Narayani, I'll also take a story.
No, but how many stories can we do? See, I think Swastik,
Yes, sir.
Narayani, Aditi, Pragnya are senior now. They should take verses. I
Yes,
know
sir.
it's too much, but if you can take verses, it is good. Otherwise, anyway, I will do it.
Fine, sir. I'll be able to do verses.
Yeah, stories will be for children, no? Those who are
Yes, sir.
very like Anvit and all, you know. So, okay,
Yes, sir.
now the doubts, please. I'll just end the class, then we
Okay.
take the doubts.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
end the class, okay? I had prepared it, but we end the class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnart Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.